What's up, Blackish fam? I hope all is well in your corner of the world. We're continuing to dive into artists that are very intellectual and very lyrical, and we're going to just start dissecting the bars and understanding really what the messages they're trying to share with the world. And when we talk about intellectual and lyrical, it doesn't get too much more complex than Black Thought. He's just a great, someone that's always kind of behind the scenes, always underrated, but man just never fails. They say you can't say Black Thought without saying the man never spit a whack verse. So, without further ado, we're going to get into his verse. I'm not familiar with this verse, but it was good enough for someone to highlight. This is his verse on A Few Good Things. We're going to go to break it down. I don't know it, so it's also a reaction as well. Let's get it.
From what we know about my mother, she was cut from the cloth for South Carolina Gullah. She knew to keep the
South Carolina Gullah. You don't really hear about that anymore, but this is it's an area of South Carolina where they kept the tradition. Yeah, they kept more of their African American linguistic and cultural heritage than other places in the country. Him saying, "I don't know much about my mom." I wonder. I think his parents, his mom and dad, both died when he was really young, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, let's run that back.
South Carolina Gullah. She knew to keep the root the right amount of color. Her own soul.
You keep the root a right amount of color, right? You have to maintain. If he to play on words with Gullah, he's saying, yo, you got to understand your roots, but also play on the roots, right? But like the roots keep a right amount of color, right? Most girls dye their roots show first.
Remind you of somebody abuela is smooth. The way
Her old soul reminds you of somebody's abuela. So abuela is a grandma in Spanish.
abuela is smooth. The way she dip into a mental capoeira when she's
Capoeira. Ooh, you don't hear that. It sounds like he's in touch with somebody who's Spanish. I think that's Brazilian, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a system of physical discipline. But a lot of people know it as martial arts. But I believe it originated as a movement of like disciplining slaves, if I'm not mistaken. But it's now known as an art form. There's been a lot of video games where they're doing capoeira, and it looks like they're breakdancing, but they're actually kicking. That's actually, in fact, what they're referencing.
the way she dip into a mental capoeira when she's staring into your soul. And you trying not to let her now and then you might get a word. If not an operetta when she
You don't hear words like this, right? So to break it down is something special. An operetta is very different from an opera. It's normally shorter, but it's more. There's more humor involved, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
if not an operetta when she take it upon herself to drop an acapella about
Acapella,
different rules, relatives.
no beat, right? She's just dropping acapella. She's probably dropping knowledge on them.
Different rules, relatives, you can't pick and choose. How they quick to get confused and to disapprove. Grown acting like they still in school, but in the grand scheme of things, it all seems pretty minuscule.
Talking about family, right? How you can't pick and choose family. She's saying different rules. There's relatives you can't pick and choose. I said in the grand scheme of things, oh, well, she said they're grown, but they're acting like they're still in school. They're acting like children, right? That in the grand scheme of things is pretty minuscule. I love this lyrical breakdown though, because he also shows you how he's rhyming, right? Choose, prove, school. It shows the complex rhyme patterns that someone like Black Thought has. It was just nice.
Things it all seems pretty minuscule. A cool toast to the people we adore the most. Let's hold them close like the water headed for the coast. I'm wide awoke. What I'm haunted by is more than.
He didn't say I'm not wide awake, right? I'm wide awoke. I'm woke, right? I'm enlightened. I know I'm hip to the world around me.
What I'm haunted by is more than ghosts. And suede slippers, sipping the morning roast, listening to Harlan Oates. Oyster flex on the ashy wrist as I reflect on what got me this. How I wanna catch the kids. We from SP and we come in twos. I'm unenthused. Good things come in fused.
Oh, yo, that's just nice. Not as deep as some of his other stuff, but still deep nonetheless, right? Black Thought is just one of those people that he just requires more, right? If you're going to be a fan of Black Thought, you have to understand that you're not going to get a lot of his references, right? Like he referenced Hall and Oates, right? Like who does that? Who in hip hop that's listening to Black Thought would be able to reference that? That's a pop duo. That's Daryl Hall and John Oates. I just think about that. Like when I hear Black Thoughts music, like who is this intended for? Because man, most people it's probably going right over their head. But yo, I got it right. So I'm sure there's other people out there that are getting it. And if you're a fan of true hip hop, this is the type of music you normally like, right? Something that's like intellectual, but yo, just so sick with it, man. Yo, if you're a fan of Black Thought, we're going to continue going through his catalog as well as the Roots. Now, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're just at about 400 subscribers now. We're a relatively new channel. We just got started at the start of the year. So, yo, help us grow. We're on that push to 1,000. If you support the channel and you support not just bringing positive change to the Black community and the people of color, but intelligent conversation, right? I'm not just going to be bumping like, yee, he snapped, bro, that dude snapped. Nah, we want to get to the nitty gritty, right? The meat and potatoes, and have intelligent conversations that helps move the bar forward. And hey, yo, if you're a fan, don't forget to show love by subscribing.